You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Real stories, powerful insights, and weekly inspiration to help you rise above life's challenges. Let's lift off with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Said your name, and from that point I was like, I've got to meet this guy. And so finally, when we had an opportunity to cross paths, back in the early 2000s when I first came to Lincoln through Baudet, I got a chance to meet you. I did get a chance to see just how much of an outgoing person you are, how gregarious you are, how very, very I would just say you're a people person in so many different ways, in that you've always got a great joke. You've always got, your mind on 5 different things at the same time, but you're connecting all the dots. You just really are a very compelling person to me. And so the first thing we always do on my show is we talk about where your name came from. So that's the reason I queued it up that way.
Really?
Because
okay.
I've never heard that name before. And so could you tell us, where did the name Johansi come from?
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. The name Johansi is a name that my parents came up with. My father, in particular, who you referenced.
Yes.
They wanted to give us, by us I mean my sister as well. They wanted to give us unique names, African names, and names that had a meaning. It's not a family name. It's a name that they researched, looked up, and that they came up with. And it was a name that they really liked. And so, yeah,
that's where it came from.
That's where it came from. That's right.
That's amazing. So, when you were growing up and you said your name in school, because that's where we first kind of run headlong into this idea that, wait a minute, we hear this around the house all the time. Our parents call us this, our family members call us this, our friends call us this, but this is different. When did you kind of realize, or did you ever feel like when you were going through school, I have a different name?
Oh, man. Yes, I would say from the very beginning, and I like to tell people, honestly, and it might sound weird when I say this, or it might sound like an exaggeration, but I truly believe growing up, I have been called everything that you could think of with a name like Johansi. And so it starts very early, elementary school. I feel like as soon as kids can talk, we're making fun of each other. For better or for worse. Right?
That's right.
And so, so right away, kids, what is your name? What is that? Blah, blah, blah. And so, again, everything that you could think of, whether it rhymed with my name, whether it was just because it was different, they made up something different to call me. It's always been that way. And even all the way as I got older and through college, and even adults might not realize this, but they're so quick to give people nicknames without even asking.
That's right.
Well, we're just going to call you this, or, what do you go by for short, or what do people call you?
Yes.
And I've always said, well, Johansi.
That's right. That's my full name. That's what name. I'd like you to.
I don't really have a nickname. When I was younger and playing sports and stuff, nicknames get attached, but I never said that's my nickname.
Yeah.
People just did that on their own.
Yeah.
But no, I've always, again, the history that I gave you, I've always been very proud of my name. As a kid, you struggle when you're getting bullied or made fun of. So, I went through that like everybody does to a certain extent, to, different for different reasons. But again, my name in particular, I went through that where I was feeling like, man, why do I have such a different name?
Yeah.
But that was when I was really young. And even through that phase, I knew, to answer your question, specifically, I knew my name was different.
I see.
And my dad had spent time explaining, again, why he chose that name.
Yes.
The meaning behind it, which it means God's gift.
I see.
My sister's name means to walk with dignity and honor. And so he was very purposeful about, this is your name and this is what it means, and this is how you should carry yourself.
That's amazing. And these stories about people's names, they are so compelling because, again, as a youngster, you're walking around and everybody has to refer to you. And, it's something that, again, it comes from a place of pride and everything else. But then, it's interesting. Sometimes you just get into a different space and then people don't respect any of that. Right. It's just like, and you also have glasses, right? So it's like, I mean, it's just all these things. And so I really appreciate you talking about, the challenges of having a unique name growing up. And I think that that's important, that, you're the meaning of your name. And that's beautiful. It's great to hear that story. So I appreciate you telling us that story. So tell us, were you born in Lincoln, or where were you born?
Yeah. Born and raised in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Okay. So you're born in Lincoln.
Born and raised. Yep.
Tell us what it was like to grow up in Lincoln for you. And then I'm going to bring in some additional context here. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out. I believe we're dealing with probably the mid 80s when you were born, around there, right?
Early 80s.
Early 80s. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
80s,
All right. Early 80s.
Yep.
So take us back to what it was like for you to grow up in Lincoln in the early 80s. What was that like? Where did you grow up? What neighborhoods do you remember?
Okay.
All that. Tell us about your youth and what it was like to be you in Lincoln, Nebraska when you were growing up.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Wow. He's going to take me back. Okay. Well, the first classic question that people ask when you're from Lincoln, people who are from Lincoln, well, what high school did you go to?
That's right.
What middle school did you go to?
That's right.
So I went to Lincoln High, go Lynx. Then I went to Park Middle School for 1 year. I went to Irving Middle School for 2 years.
Okay.
Before that. And I went to Ruth Hill.
Really? You went to Ruth Hill?
I went to Ruth
My
Hill.
daughters went to Ruth Hill for a couple of years. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, there you
Very
go.
small niche school there.
That's
yeah.
right. That's
Yes.
right. And so we actually, I feel like I had a very unique experience in Lincoln. And what I mean by that is I was always I think a member of the, minority growing up in Lincoln. But at the same time, my parents, they were well accomplished. They had done a lot. And so I feel like I had a lot of opportunities. I feel very fortunate. Now, both my parents came here from the South, South Carolina and Birmingham, Alabama. They both ended up in Nebraska for different reasons. So they're not from here.
I see.
And they kept doing better as we were, growing up in Lincoln. The first house I remember is probably over on Tipperary Trail, and that's out. There used to be a Shopco out there, but it's like 27th and Highway 2.
Yes.
Nebraska Highway. And close to Ruth Hill. And so grew up in that neighborhood. Southwood, Tierra Park is over in that area.
Yep.
And I have fond memories of growing up there and just in the neighborhood playing a lot of sports. There was an open field we could play sports at, basketball nearby, clubhouse nearby. And then we moved what I believed at the time was the country. And that was probably, it was 40th and Pine Lake, 42nd and Pine Lake. And back then there was nothing out there.
That's
this
right.
was probably mid 90s, early mid 90s. And so there was no Scott Middle School at the time. There was no Southwest High School. There was no mall out there. There was really nothing out there. At that time in Lincoln, Old Cheney was far south.
Absolutely. Wow.
That was like, if you told people you were going to Old Cheney
people were
in
like
92, they were like, man, you going way out there? And so we moved out to Pine Lake, and that was interesting. Again, going back, I think that was a unique experience for me because I felt like we were moving far away from town, far away from people.
And so was that the result of your parents building a house out there then? Okay, it was a new development that was going on. Okay.
That's right. And, to be completely honest, I don't remember, but they probably did not build the house.
I see. Okay.
They bought it. I can't remember if there was a previous owner or not, but yes, a new development.
I see.
Yeah. Yes.
So you were in a few different neighborhoods and you can remember playing. And that's interesting. You talk about playing, you talk about being in the fields and playing with friends.
We were playing every day.
Every single day.
Every single day.
That's one of the main things I remember from growing up is just pick up football, pick up basketball, like the community center that I went to growing up. I mean, those are some really fond memories.
Yeah, I remember playing basketball in the snow. I mean, we were always out there.
Always outside. Just always outside. There were just for our listeners, right? Like, I mean, we're talking the early 90s. So that means that, yes, you might have a Nintendo.
Yes.
right? You might
I
have a
remember
Nintendo.
Sega.
You might have a Super Nintendo,
Yep.
right? A Sega Genesis,
We had a Sega
right?
Genesis.
Be
Yep.
playing some Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's right.
However, if you don't have the game systems, then you're playing in the streets, right? You're
Yep.
just doing your thing outside, and sports are important and everything else. And that's really what brings people together. So it's so neat that you mentioned those neighborhoods because Tipperary. So when we lived in that neighborhood, we lived off of Winchester South, I think.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And so Winchester is the road. Actually, Ruth Hill is in the backyard of Winchester.
Yep. Gotcha.
So we lived there. And then when I lived over on the south side, we lived at South 48th Street, which was just south of Pine Lake, right there. So it's interesting. You're kind of in some of those same neighborhoods and everything. Right. And as I and actually, my daughters, they went to Ruth Hill first, but then they went to Human Elementary.
Yep.
Right there in that neighborhood.
That's right. In that neighborhood. That's right.
So it's, and like you said, people, when you talk about growing up in Lincoln, they ask, what school did you go to? Yep. And what they're really asking is, what was your socioeconomic background?
That's right. Right? That's right.
Because did you go to Southeast? Did you go to East? Did you go to South? Right. So they're just kind of trying to size you up in that regard. So,
and I also, if I may,
yeah,
I mean, I feel like when you're asking me about growing up, I said I had a unique experience. I have to say, I also felt like I had a strong community support.
That's awesome.
And a lot of that was the connections that my parents had.
Yes.
The church that we went to, which Bode is actually how our parents knew each other before we were born. But we grew up in the church together.
I see.
Allen Chapel.
Yes.
Shout out to Allen Chapel. And there was a group of us that, we're all still friends to this day, and really we're like family.
Okay.
So even though we were at different schools,
yes,
we were still going to church at least once a week, maybe a couple times a week growing up, going to each other's houses, that sort of thing. So I always felt like I had a very strong community growing up in Lincoln.
Okay. And that church is right off of Y Street then?
That's right.
That's right. Okay. So this is the first time in real time, by the way, that I'm realizing that you all also went to the same church.
That's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, revelations. So that's interesting because I always did, I was kind of going through my brain, and I know where Bode has lived for an extended period of time, Northeast Lincoln, and everything else, but it seemed like you all still had connections outside of the
church.
The church.
We were in at least every week, probably twice a week.
Yes.
And then we had other things like Pathfinders, which is kind of like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We had plays.
Yes.
We had trips, all those sorts of things. So that was another one of the communities.
That's a part of the glue.
That's right. That's right.
That's amazing. So, when you think about looking back into your youth and your childhood, what would you say? You talked about your parents, which I think is awesome. We'll talk a little bit more about them. What were some of those messages you were getting from a young age about what you were expected to accomplish?
Yeah. Man, that's you're making me pause for a second. A specific thing, it was always expected, education. It was always expected that we were going to go to college. It was always expected that we were going to take our schooling, our education, serious.
Yes.
And while it may not have been said in this specific way until I got older, it was also understood that we were going to do better than our parents, or that was expected. And growing up in Lincoln, Lincoln is much more diverse now than it was back then. It's still not as diverse as a lot of other cities that have around 300,000 people.
That's right.
Across the country.
Right.
And so it was also expected that when we went out in public, we were representing, like it or not, everyone who looked like us.
Yes.
In Lincoln. And that was just the way that it is. And we needed to understand that in everything that we did publicly and how we carried ourselves. That we were representing our family, the Christie family, but also our extended family, whether we knew them or not.
Right. That's interesting that you bring that up, and imagine, to my listeners, I want you to just imagine that you feel that you're in a space as a young person, and on your shoulders is the reputation of everybody that looks like you, essentially, because you're in that space. You're one of very few people that represent people that look like you.
That's right.
And you have to carry that weight. And that weight is also increased by just the parental expectations. Like you said, we're expected to do better than our parents. Now, and I'll say this, and I'll also say it in the case of, your parents and my parents, and since we've kind of brought up Bode and Alameda here, I'll just go ahead and talk about their parents too. And this, when I say this, that's not easy to do. Our parents were well-known parents, right? Like, they accomplished great things. So you're kind of looking at your parents and you're like, you've been very successful.
Yes.
People know you.
Yeah.
Like, everywhere I go, somebody's saying hi, like
Yeah.
they're well-established in the community. They have great
That's right.
education. They've done well. So again, we back up to this concept of you carrying the weight of the folks that look like you on your shoulders and the expectation of your parents and your community, right?
Mhm.
And I'll add an extra layer here. You're also carrying that expectation of the church,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you go to that church, you're a representative of that church, and there's a lot of expectation there, right?
Yeah.
So how do you navigate through all of that while also just being a young kid who just wants to have fun and do whatever you want to do? We all went through the same, essentially, development where we're kind of making some bad decisions and really having to try to find our way. So how do you carry all that weight and navigate all of those different expectations and get through it? How do you do that? How did you do that?
Man, that's a good question. I think I said this a little bit earlier, but I always knew I was blessed by the resources that I had around me and my family support and the other support that we talked about. And it was always very clear to me. So I think that helped me sort of navigate a lot of the expectations that were in front of me and put on me. And at a very early age, it was clear the expectations that were put on me. I started speaking in the church at a young age. I started doing the I Have a Dream speech at an early age, which people in the community remember. And I was a young kid.
Yes.
And so people were, it was very clear to me early on.
Yes.
That I needed to go forth and be great, as they say.
Yes.
Yes. But no, I struggled as a kid more so than lots of people know. I mean, my dad knows, right? Bode knows, right? Other people I grew up with know, but those pre-teenage, teenage years, they were in a lot of ways rough for me because of, I think I was rebelling. Of course, we all are a little rebellious.
Absolutely.
And I was feeling a little pressure.
Right.
I think
a
little bit.
Right.
And then playing sports too, there's an expectation if you do well in sports, and then you also have some of that attention. It's coming very fast.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I would say is my parents were always very good. I mentioned they were both from the South.
Yes.
And so we used to go at least every summer to where my parents came from.
I see.
And so I remember going to Birmingham, Alabama. I remember going to South Carolina where my dad was born. And I remember thinking, how did y'all live like that?
Wow.
So it was always always a sort of a level set perspective for me.
Yes.
And they were always having those conversations, with me, like, we're going to show you what it means to actually struggle, or we're going to show you where we came from. And it's important for you to see this and understand where we're at today and how far we have come. And again, understand that you are blessed and that you are privileged. And young man, what do you know about struggle?
That's right.
It's kind of what I was hearing and seeing in a lot of ways. And not to say that you have to come from those parts to struggle.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm just telling you that's kind of the effect that it had on me
you. Yeah.
When I'm thinking of, well, how do I navigate all of this burden, as you said, or this weight, this expectation that is put on me.
That's really powerful. The imagery, and I can certainly relate to that. My father was from Georgia, and so we would go back to Columbus, Georgia every summer, and to see, like you said, first of all, we would interface with his parents. We would interface with his cousins and some of the people in his old neighborhood. And it was not a very nice place. You know, like it humbled you. Every time we went back,
it humbled you.
We were like, you know, and I'm just going to put this out there because this is just kind of how I felt. We were like, when are we going back to our other life?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is great. You know, we get to see grandma and grandpa, but you know, this is a small house and we don't have all the creature comforts of where we're from. And we were, you know, my dad was in the military, so we were traveling the world and moving, and my grandparents lived in the same place all their life. And there wasn't a lot of social mobility.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Social mobility was completely lacking, and it was obvious. And I would see the neighborhoods, I would see my relatives, and they really weren't moving in the way that I knew I was able to move back in Nebraska.
That's right. So you could see, and this is interesting, and the convergence of this is amazing, because I asked you the question how you navigated those things. You have illuminated to me that it was partially your own doing, your own struggle and overcoming these things while you were experiencing those things. So you were kind of seeing and you were kind of moving and everything else. However, a major part of it was also the perspective, the wisdom, the support of your family, your church, your friends, and just honestly, just taking all these things in and saying, you know what, actually, I am blessed. I am able to do things that I see young people in these other places where I go that aren't able to do those things. I am being called upon, tapped in ways to stand up and speak in church and do some of these community things because people have expectations of me, right? But you were getting opportunities too. So that's amazing. And it just helps me really conceptualize how you had to deal with all of those things and how you dealt with them, you know, and it really, I hadn't really even thought so much about going back to my dad's hometown and just feeling like, wow, how did this neighborhood produce my father, who is so strict and, you know, squared away and disciplined, and he came from here, right? So what that does is it almost awakens in your mind this concept of that is also me.
Yeah.
Right? I'm nothing different. Like my dad came from this. My mom came from that. I am also of that. And there's nothing wrong with it. Right?
Right.
And I think that's the part that's also a blessing, is that you go into those spaces and you realize, you know what? My cousin may not have a college education, but they're just as smart as anybody who I've known who's been to college. Right. So we'll get back into that after this. You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket. I have Johansi Christian here today with me, and we are just having a great time. We'll have more for you when we come back.
The savings continue all November long at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. They're extending their red tag sale with machines priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Plus 10% off snowplow kits, 10% off fly motocross gear, and 50% off all in-stock road tires. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for the holiday season.
This Black Friday, it is time to hit your goals before the new year even starts. At Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, get 40% off our next 10-week challenge, plus 6 weeks for free to kickstart your fitness journey. Start training December 1st with kickboxing, strength training, and personalized nutrition. So when our official challenge begins January 10th, you're already ahead of the game. Spots are limited. Don't wait for January to make your resolution. Start strong now. Visit fxbeatlincoln.com or stop by one of our 2 locations at South 40th and Yankee Hill or North 70th and Vine. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Stronger starts here.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Hi, Charlie Stone here, and it's that time of the year again. Time for the annual Happy Honda Days at Honda of Lincoln. With me on the line, Andy Goodyear, to tell us all about it.
The exciting news is we have more selection and more savings. We have over 400 new 2025 and 2026 Hondas to choose from, with a great opportunity to get year-end savings on every remaining new 2025.
Do you have some Happy Honda Day specials?
Sure do, Charlie. For example, you can lease a new 2025 Accord Sport Hybrid for just $349 a month, and we have financing from just 0% APR. We've also included over 125 pre-owned of all makes and models, and as always, our certified pre-owns are in this sale as well.
Well, maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
This holiday season, give the gift of good taste with a gift card from Valentino's. During double discount days, double your discount from $5 to $10 free with a $50 gift card purchase. Valentino's handcrafted pizza has been a family favorite for generations, and our gift cards make the perfect holiday gift. And right now, during gift card double discount days, when you buy $50 in gift cards, get a $10 gift card free. Happy holidays from Valentino's.
Leaves are falling and temperatures are cooling down, but don't put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Winter leagues begin on December 1st and are open for registration. Check out their deals on monthly memberships and schedule your Husker Watch parties, birthday or bachelor parties, corporate or team outings, or just a good old Saturday with the boys. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Book a tee time today or learn more at doubleeagle.golf.
Acreage owner getting ready for winter? Make it easy with John Deere compact tractors and gators from Acres Equipment. Add snow blowers, front blades, cabs, heaters, and loaders to tackle every chore. Right now, in-stock units are priced to move with competitive financing to fit your budget. Get winter ready today at acres.com. Acres Equipment, your acreage handled. Financing subject to approved credit with John Deere Financial. Not all customers qualify. See dealer for details.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock, perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
If you are a business owner, I want you to think about the amount of time you've spent worrying about safety and security. Lincoln's own experts at Diode Technologies design custom solutions for security, communication, and so much more. From automated security to secure video conferencing, their team sits down with you to get to know you and what your business needs. Manage your operations and get notified when there is suspicious activity. Save time and cut back on stress. Diode Tech always keeps you in the know. Contact them today at 402-793-5124.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're back on the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Johansi Christie in the studio with me today, and you are just getting the opportunity to hear about his upbringing and everything. And just a quick recap, born in Lincoln, Nebraska, early 80s, just really at a unique time here in Lincoln. Both parents from the South came here looking for opportunities, and Johansi was just talking to us about what it was like for him to grow up in Lincoln. And I think we can all kind of attest to having a favorite park near our house because Lincoln has so many awesome parks. And so he talked about growing up in some of those parks and, playing sports and going to a few different schools and everything. And talked about, this really stuck out to me. just that Old Cheney was the southbound road, and beyond Old Cheney was just way south. You know, you're like living out in the sticks, and now it goes all the way out to Yankee Hill, right? And
That's
beyond, right? So, but just super neat to hear your story so far. A little bit about growing up. We were just before the break, just talking about the balance, I think, for young kids who are growing up with their families, and you get an opportunity, and some of you out there listening, you can relate to this, where you go and see where your parents came from, and it may not necessarily be the nicest or the best place, but what you realize is that that same place that might not be the nicest or the best place produced your parents, who have done very amazing things, made great reputations for themselves, potentially transplanted somewhere else, built a living for themselves and a beautiful reputation. And, honestly, you all, I really got to know Johansi's dad, Mr. Thomas Christie, before I got to know him.
That's right.
And so I got to know him really well through a number of different channels. And I used to always hear his name when I would be in Lincoln Public Schools, and the role that he played in Lincoln Public Schools for so many years, and all the amazing things he did, being a teacher, a coach. I mean, you all, I got to know Johansi's dad, and I just realized that, during the time frame where my father was getting sick and passing away, Thomas Christie really provided a lot of mentorship for so many people in Lincoln. He provided that same mentorship for me. So, it's neat to talk to you, because I know your dad, and I've just known your dad for such a long time. We'd sit down and we'd have great talks about things, and just always have this really unique perspective. And so I just think of a young you and just how tough your dad is.
Right.
Because I know he's a tough person, because
Right.
he certainly called me out on a number of occasions and tried to whip me into shape when I was trying to finish up my PhD and stuff. He
That's
said,
right.
you got to finish it, Chatters,
Yep.
But when I just think about you being young and growing up, and sometimes I think these people who are so big in the communities, it's just hard to be their kid, because you're always walking in their shadow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
And it's a good thing because it keeps you out of the sun, but it's a bad thing because sometimes it can be cold.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. That's a good way to put it.
And so, it's amazing to hear your story and your journey, and hear about you going down to Alabama and South Carolina.
That's right.
And of course, and I'm just gonna put this out there. I might be wrong, but I think I'm gonna be right on this.
Okay.
You're coming from the Midwest, so that automatically makes you stick out like a sore thumb in
That's right.
Birmingham and South Carolina.
Right.
Because I know there's some Southern draws down there, and you're coming down there, and you're talking like a good old Northwestern,
I'm talking all
Midwestern
proper.
boy.
I was a cousin from the north.
That's right.
You coming back from the north?
Yeah, you think you know everything up there, don't you?
Right.
Right. So tell us, what was it like for you to go to some of those places as a kid and just interact with your cousins, and get the chance to talk to your grandparents if they were still alive during that time frame? And what different cultural things did you see between where you were growing up in Lincoln, Nebraska, and where you were going to Birmingham and in South Carolina?
Man, yeah, that could probably be a whole nother segment. But one of the things I'll tell you that always stood out to me is it was so segregated. And I felt like, we would go there, and my sister, we felt like we were going back in time.
Yes.
And it really, in a lot of ways, it felt behind a little bit.
Yeah.
And even if like Birmingham was bigger than Lincoln, or if we were going somewhere else in Alabama or in South Carolina, and it was maybe a bigger city, and maybe they had more development or whatever, but their interactions, I felt were lacking and so far behind. It was always noticeable that they were only talking to people that looked like them. And I had cousins growing up asking me, well, how do you even talk to white people?
Wow.
And I was like, what you mean?
Yeah.
How I'm talking to you? And they're like, no, I don't I've never actually talked to a white person. Like, what is that like? Like, those are real conversations that I had with relatives growing up. And I didn't, I just didn't understand it. And I didn't, as a kid, I was always very confused, but my my dad, as an educator, was always talking to me about all these sorts of things. And so I felt, I usually felt prepared to have the conversation, but I was still very shocked when he wasn't around. And again, my cousins or uncles or whoever would have these conversations with me. And I was just flabbergasted that they had never, and especially was an uncle or a relative or someone who was so much older than me. I was like, what do you mean?
Right.
And they also weren't really leaving their neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, that social mobility was not happening.
No, it was not happening. And those were two things that were always very shocking to me when I would go there. And then the third thing is the poverty seems so severe. When I would go there and see, where my parents were at, and my dad in particular, which a lot of people don't know my dad's story. He was really a foster child, right? So he ended up being, when he came to Nebraska, he ended up in foster care and ultimately, but so he really didn't. He had different places that he stayed at in South Carolina, but like the house when he was a child, when he was born in, he had several siblings, and there were all these people in the house, and I didn't, from where I'm coming from, I didn't understand how they all could fit in that house.
Right. You're looking at it, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
As a kid, I remember that, and I was like, well, no, uncle and aunt, uncle and right. We all can't all be in the house.
That's
and
right.
They just kind of, you don't understand.
That's right. That's amazing that you talk about those three distinctive pieces of going, back in time and realizing just how segregated it still was. And this is the 90s, it's the 80s. Yes. And again, there's just,
even in the 2000s.
Yes. And trust me, still today, right? You go down to some of these places and you're like, wow, have I stepped back in time?
Yes,
right.
It's very eye-opening.
Yeah. And so, but at the same time though, what I'll say is that going and seeing that, and then going back to wherever you're from, again, you have that appreciation of, wow, I guess I do have a lot. I guess I do have opportunity. I guess this is different from what I've seen. And again, it's your family. It's a part of you, right? And so you acknowledge that. But I appreciate you talking about having some of those conversations with your cousins and uncles and such, that they're just trying to figure out, what is it like to live in a different world?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And that, I think, is a reasonable description, is that we were in different worlds.
Yes.
Right. However, in the same country. Right.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. So it's just odd, right? There's all these compelling pieces, but all of it loads in, I think. And when people talk about, well, gosh, how do you have this unique perspective, or how do you understand anything more about being, from a diverse background or your different culture comparative to other people? It's because of those experiences.
That's right.
Right. Maybe they didn't have an experience like that. Maybe they had something similar because they maybe grew up in the city or in town and their family members grew up in a rural area. Could be somewhat similar in certain regards, but that difference in perspective, and you have all of that in you. It's a part of you, right? So you talked a little bit earlier about, understanding what those expectations were of you, that you would get an education, that you would do better than your parents, that you would put respect on their name as you were out and about in the community, right? Through your actions, through your accomplishments, right? These are the things that you had as expectations. So talk to us about, you kind of gave us a glimpse into kind of those preteen years where you're still kind of, hard-headed, whatever we all are a little bit, right?
Definitely.
Pushing back, right? Going against the grain and so on and so forth. Tell us about what it was like to then go to Lincoln High, and who were some of the people at Lincoln High that really inspired you and helped you to become, ready to go to college and ready to kind of take that next step in your life?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, always my dad, right? We've touched on him, right? But he was always there, and he was my, my first teacher, my first example.
Yes.
And really always showing me how to be a man.
Yes. Yes.
How to carry myself. And then because I was a athlete, I feel like I had a lot of good coaches.
Excellent. Okay.
And And that really starts before high school as well, and that carried through high school.
And what sports did you play?
So I played basketball, football. I don't know why I said basketball first. Played football first.
Football first in the fall. Yeah,
that's right. And I played football in college, and so but I played football, basketball, and ran track in high school.
Okay, so tell us some positions here. This is a sports station. I mean, I know we're just talking, but tell us about some of these positions. Football, what position did you play?
Oh man, high school I was a quarterback.
Really?
Yeah, I was a quarterback.
What? You were okay?
Yeah, I was a quarterback.
Okay, QB.
I was QB, and then I played cornerback.
Okay,
as well. And then basketball, played point guard.
Okay,
and then track. I was a sprinter. Did the 100, 200. I really only did track because they said it was gonna
help you condition right in the spring. Yeah, for sure.
Help me with my 40-yard dash.
That's right.
Because back then I was gonna do what all young kids are gonna. all young boys are gonna do.
Go to the NFL.
Yeah, I was gonna go play on Sunday. Of course.
Absolutely. Of course. Right.
So that's what I was really focusing on.
Okay.
But I think I do think Lincoln's a special place. I mean, I'm biased because I'm born and raised here, as we talked about. But I also think Lincoln High is a special place.
Yeah.
Again, biased probably because I went there and I had a great experience there. But I was able to get involved in other things. I did a little bit of theater. I was involved in illusion theater at the I remember my senior year, and then just other classes and teachers that I had the opportunity to work with. I feel like really were helping me be more well-rounded than I think I might have been at other schools.
Yeah,
certainly that was my perspective at the time. And so, I mean, theater teachers definitely stand out to me. One in particular, that really helped encourage me and push me as well. But I spent most of my high school years sports.
Wow. I mean, it sounds like that because, again, you have these sports that you're doing. Football starts in the summer, right? I mean, you're training and everything else, and then that kind of rolls through, and then basketball gets started right after football.
That's right.
And so you are just like, man, I mean, you must have been extremely busy. And then on the academic side, you're still kind of trying to keep everything together in the classroom and everything else. What was that like for you to be a student athlete in high school and have the expectations in so many different ways of your coaches, your parents, your teammates?
Yeah.
You had to show up a lot, right? How'd you do that?
All the time. I think community, was really relevant in that area too. I mean, because when you're playing sports, you're on a team, right?
Yes.
So we're working together, and so we're supporting each other all the time, on the court, on the field, but also off the court, off the field.
Yes.
We were giving each other rides. We were staying in each other's houses. I mean, we were a tight knit group, so we were supporting each other.
That's awesome.
And I think a lot of people don't always think of it that way,
right?
But it really is a support group, and so I think that was always very helpful. To have that support and that that group mentality, that camaraderie, if you will.
Absolutely. And it's an expectation, right?
Yeah.
It is an expectation.
We hold each other accountable.
Yes, which is amazing. And I think that's what's so awesome about sports is that you have to show up. Like, you have to go to practice. You have to be there during the game. You have to push yourself. And there's so many people who are depending on you,
yes,
right?
That's right. And so you just kind of get used to, and also schedule, right? You get used to being consistent.
Yes.
And so that transitions, I think, in the classroom as well. And really in life, you might not realize that at the time. But I think it helps you, when you graduate and go on to do other things as well.
Absolutely. So we'll talk a little bit more about his high school career, some highlights from that as far as his, sports and everything are concerned. But you're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket. I have Thomas Christie. I mean, Johansi Christie.
Oh, happens a lot.
That's right. It does, right? I have one of the Christie men in here.
That's right.
Johansi's in the studio with me, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey guys, it's Carly from Boyk Farm Outfitters. Farmers, you need to know about Green Eye Spot Spray. With Green Eye, we replace your existing spray boom with a brand new aluminum boom equipped with camera technology that identifies and sprays only weeds and not your crop. The boom comes with 2 spray lines so you can still broadcast residual herbicide while you're spot spraying weeds that are up. Green Eye users in Nebraska are saving a ton of money on herbicides, but that's just the beginning. Learn more at BoyckFarmOutfitters.com. That's BOECK FarmOutfitters.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion, for happier, healthier, furry friends.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, and family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetable chips, and of course it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription, or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Midwest Bank is hosting our annual Thanksgiving food drive, partnering with local Lincoln schools to provide Thanksgiving dinners to families in need. We hope to provide meals for more than 120 families in our community this year. You can help by dropping off a donation at either Midwest Bank location, 7001 Pioneers Boulevard or 2655 Jamie Lane. Any donation is greatly appreciated. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Fall is officially here, and Brown's Shoe Fit has just the right style and comfort your feet deserve. Stop in to see a wide selection of all your favorite brands, including Brooks, Hoka, Echo, Keen, and many more. At Brown's Shoe Fit, they take the time to measure your feet to ensure proper fit. They also have the largest selection of Uggs and Hokas in Lincoln. Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, you're back on the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Hansi Christie in the studio with me today, and I'm just learning so much about this guy. It's like amazing that he's doing what he's doing now, which I'm gonna not spoil it yet. I'm just gonna wait for that big one of what he's doing now. But 3-sport athlete in high school at Lincoln High. Go Lynx. Would you believe that I had your principal on here a couple of weeks ago? Mike Wortman.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
It was so cool to talk to him and hear about his journey.
I didn't mention him, but yes, he was absolutely impactful as well.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So, but anyways, we're just kind of talking a little bit about your high school career and some of these sports and everything. Give us a bit of your highlight reel. During the break, folks, this gentleman mentioned that he's in the Hall of Fame already, and he's pretty young. So, he must be either doing something great now or did some great things back then. So tell us about some of your highlights.
To be clear, I've been in the Hall of Fame for several years.
Okay. All right.
No, I mean, let's man, you want some of the highlights?
Some of the highlights, yeah.
Okay, well, I actually started every varsity football game 9th grade through senior year.
Wow.
So and back then, the funny thing about that, or interesting thing, back then 9th grade was not at the high school.
So
I was at Park Middle School.
Wow.
But I was starting I actually started on defense. I started at cornerback, but I was the second string quarterback.
Wow.
So I would get into the games. I was playing the whole game on defense, special teams, whatever. But then I would get in at quarterback.
Okay.
Every game, and then it was the 4th game of the year. I think the starting quarterback, broke his collarbone.
Oh goodness!
And then so I started the rest of the year at quarterback while I was at Park Middle School.
Oh my goodness! So you guys can't even imagine a middle schooler going to the high school to start the football game. That is amazing.
So you said, like, what are the highlights? Like,
yes.
That was there's other things to talk about. That was probably the main highlight, probably the biggest one.
So you're there every game, every single game of your career.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and so when he broke his collarbone, and he ended up being all right. You get injured, so
right.
I'm not happy that he was okay, and of course I didn't want him to get hurt. We had a rotation thing going,
right?
But then at that time, I mean, you see that more now, but at the time it was a big deal to have a 9th grade start at quarterback for a class A high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, back then that was a big deal. You see it more now. I mean, it'd still be a big deal now, but you definitely see it more nowadays.
That's amazing. So all the games and what were some of tell us a little bit about how were you as a quarterback? Were you kind of like a pocket passer? Were you, run a little bit?
If you ask me, I did it all. Right. I'm never going to say anything.
Hey, man, this is the opportunity for you to, talk about your glory here.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Go ahead.
All right. So my junior year, I actually led the state in passing.
Wow.
But it wasn't.
And tell us, what year was your junior year? What year would that have been?
I graduated high school in 2001.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys, do you know who else was around that 2001 time? Guy named Eric Crouch, right?
Yeah.
Around that time frame. I'm talking between essentially 98 and 2002. There's some great things happening in Nebraska high school football, and some great people graduating and everything else. So you led the state in passing that year.
My junior year, and Barrett Rude and I we're the same age. He went on to be
right. He played at Southeast, right?
Yeah, played at Southeast. They used to beat us bad back then when I went to look it up. But I lived in the Southeast District, which I already talked about. So I drove by Southeast every day to go to Lincoln High back then, and which was also, there was a thought that I was gonna go to Southeast, which we would have been even more of a
powerhouse, right? Yeah, for sure.
Than they already were. But I always knew I was gonna go to Lincoln High, and I wouldn't change anything about that. But my junior year, when I led the state in passing, we had we had a receiver that was one of the great high school athletes to come through Lincoln, and threw him the ball a lot.
That was your go-to.
That was my go-to. But no, ran the ball a lot as well.
Excellent. So you were running and passing. We'll do more running and passing right after this, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Johansi Christine here. We'll be right back on 93.7 The Ticket.
The savings continue all November long at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. They're extending their red tag sale with machines priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Plus 10% off snowplow kits, 10% off fly motocross gear, and 50% off all in-stock road tires. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for the holiday season.
This Black Friday, it is time to hit your goals before the new year even starts. At Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, get 40% off our next 10-week challenge, plus 6 weeks for free to kickstart your fitness journey. Start training December 1st with kickboxing, strength training, and personalized nutrition. So when our official challenge begins January 10th, you're already ahead of the game. Spots are limited. Don't wait for January to make your resolution. Start strong now. Visit fxbeatlincoln.com or stop by one of our 2 locations at South 40th and Yankee Hill or North 70th and Vine. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Stronger starts here.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Hi, Charlie Stone here, and it's that time of the year again. Time for the annual Happy Honda Days at Honda of Lincoln. With me on the line, Andy Goodyear, to tell us all about it.
The exciting news is we have more selection and more savings. We have over 400 new 2025 and 2026 Hondas to choose from, with a great opportunity to get year-end savings on every remaining new 2025.
Do you have some Happy Honda Days specials?
Sure do, Charlie. For example, you can lease a new 2025 Accord Sport Hybrid for just $349 a month, and we have financing from just 0% APR. We've also included over 125 pre-owned of all makes and models, and as always, our certified pre-owns are in this sale as well.
Well, maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
This holiday season, give the gift of good taste with a gift card from Valentino's. During double discount days, double your discount from $5 to $10 free with a $50 gift card purchase. Valentino's handcrafted pizza has been a family favorite for generations, and our gift cards make the perfect holiday gift. And right now, during gift card double discount days, when you buy $50 in gift cards, get a $10 gift card free. Happy holidays from Valentino's.
Leaves are falling and temperatures are cooling down, but don't put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Winter leagues begin on December 1st and are open for registration. Check out their deals on monthly memberships and schedule your Husker Watch parties, birthday or bachelor parties, corporate or team outings, or just a good old Saturday with the boys. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Book a tee time today or learn more at doubleeagle.golf.
Acreage owner getting ready for winter? Make it easy with John Deere compact tractors and gators from Acres Equipment. Add snow blowers, front blades, cabs, heaters, and loaders to tackle every chore. Right now, in-stock units are priced to move with competitive financing to fit your budget. Get winter ready today at acres.com. Acres Equipment, your acreage handled. Financing subject to approved credit with John Deere Financial. Not all customers qualify. See dealer for details.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock, perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
If you are a business owner, I want you to think about the amount of time you've spent worrying about safety and security. Lincoln's own experts at Diode Technologies design custom solutions for security, communication, and so much more. From automated security to secure video conferencing, their team sits down with you to get to know you and what your business needs. Manage your operations and get notified when there is suspicious activity. Save time and cut back on stress. Diode Tech always keeps you in the know. Contact them today at 402-793-5124.
You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Real stories, powerful insights, and weekly inspiration to help you rise above life's challenges. Let's lift off with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket. We are kicking off our second hour here. So happy that you've had the opportunity to hear everything we've been talking about. We just got a little bit into some jawing this last hour talking about Mr. Johan C. Christie's distinguished football career. He started every single game, freshman all the way through senior year, varsity. And again, we were just kind of talking during the break. And I mean, you know, we were just kind of messing with them a little bit, talking about, hey, you know, you're showing up, like couldn't even drive to the football field, but your parents are dropping you off and you're out there driving the offense up and down the field, right? Like, and so, but, you know, what we all realize, I think, is that, and, you know, we're not talking small school here. We're talking Lincoln High. We're talking a Class A school where there's a lot of students that went out for football. There's a lot of students from across this community who could have been playing, and he was there starting. And so clearly something very special. And again, this kind of really ties back to some of the stuff we were talking about first hour in regard to the high expectations that were out there for him and all the things that he wanted to accomplish. And, you know, honestly, I mean, he's a coach's kid, right? He's
right.
We haven't even talked about the fact that his dad was a wrestling coach, right? And so, if you know anything about wrestling, it's about as tough as it gets. Okay. So, you know, clearly he came from a place of high expectation out there playing sports. One of the really unique things that kind of came out of the first hour for me when you talked about it, oddly enough, is you talking about being involved in theater.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that one.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and theater is something that's been really meaningful in my life as well. And so, and I realized just how much you learn about yourself when you have to play a character, right? And you have to bring the discipline of knowing your lines and being able to have the timing to produce your, you know, your lines and everything on time. And at the same time, you're playing all these sports and doing all this stuff. So tell us a little bit more about some of the other highlights of just your overall career prior to, you know, this, you mentioned that you led the state in passing your junior year.
Right.
Wow. You know, like, again, seriously, like, and so tell us about some more of the highlights and kind of what you took from that participation, because clearly it led to an opportunity in college. And so we can kind of talk about that as well, but tell us about some more highlights.
Okay.
How great did you do in basketball? You know, like, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, football, we went to state, I think twice, I think in those 4 years. So we had some pretty, especially my junior year. So we had some pretty good teams. You know, obviously we didn't win it all or anything like that, but we were talented. We had a lot of talent my years at Lincoln High, I feel like. But and then basketball, which I believe is probably the funnest sport to play in high school. Or at least I had. Yeah, you had so much fun playing high school basketball. You know, the games are really fun. A lot of people there. And, you know, the crowd's right there. You can talk to people. You can interact.
Yes.
And it's fast paced.
Yes.
So it was a lot of fun. I played, let's see, when I was a freshman, I started JV basketball. And then my sophomore year, I was JV and varsity. And then, you know, varsity the next
couple of years. Okay.
And we had some good teams back then. We went to state probably every year.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember. There may have been a year we didn't go, but I don't really remember us not going to
That was just kind of a part of the season.
Yeah,
right?
we
district champs, then right.
We're gonna go and I might be remembering it not entirely accurate, but we certainly certain junior, senior, sophomore, I'm pretty sure, we went to state every year. And so it was a lot of fun. I remember, lots of memories, but I do remember having it was a time where I think we were number 2 in the state. Southeast was number 1. And remember, this was back in the day with the championship football and basketball went through Lincoln. Okay.
Yes.
So this was a different time. Right. This was Omaha schools. They were good and sure, but it wasn't like it is now.
I see.
The state championships were coming through Lincoln.
I see.
Okay. It was the Lincoln high schools. We were winning. So Southeast was number 1. We were number 2. And I remember playing at Southeast, and it was sold out. It was a record for like most people to watch basketball game.
Wow.
And I remember that was really, of course, that record's been since, it didn't last that long, but I remember at that time it was sold out, and people were, the place was just packed. And I just remember being so excited for that game. That was my senior year. And I remember we got blown out too. I remember that.
I did not expect that part of the story, that you got blown out.
We got blown out. I remember the game was tied. I remember they got 5-6 steals in a row, and they hit 5-6 threes in a row. So it was a 15-point swing.
15-point swing.
And that was
You're
it.
just like, man, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
So all of a sudden, you're feeling a little different. Now you get to lose in front of the biggest
That's
crowd
right.
ever, right?
That's right.
No, I'm just messing. But anyways, but it's so awesome, I think, listening to you talk about these memories that you have of just, you're a young man, and you're with your teammates that you bleed with and you sweat with, and you just have all this camaraderie with, and all these expectations and accountability, and you guys get to go experience that together, right? And I think that, oftentimes people are so critical of athletes, and they're critical of the outcome of a specific point in time, but they don't recognize the weight of the entire summation of things, right? They don't recognize that there's a storyline there. That kid's not there because something happened to their parent, right? And that's why perhaps this person wasn't at the game, or something else happened, or somebody is going through some other significant challenge, and there's other things. Somebody's seriously injured, but we can't really say that because we still need them to play, right? There's all these storylines that are happening behind the scenes, and all the time and effort that people put into their craft, and to not have the outcome that they would want them to have, it just is what it is, right? I mean, and so it's just neat to hear you think back and recount some of these stories and how those things have likely had an impact on you. So you get through high school, you already had the expectation that you're going to be going to college. So tell us about that process. I mean, you're at one of the premier high schools in the state as far as sports are concerned, and academics as well, because you all have always had the program there, the IB program.
It did not exist when I was in high school.
It wasn't there yet. So, but
still a well-respected school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, Principal Wortman actually talked to me a little bit about how the demographics changed at Lincoln High around that time. He actually mentioned that to me. He said it. Yes. He said, it went from being a school that wasn't as diverse to being very diverse because of some of the immigration and things that happened in the city. Right. And how that created some new distinctions at the school as well. But tell us, how do you get to this point where you make a decision on where you go to college, and talk to us about that process, about your recruitment, about all that stuff, and kind of what your vision was of what was going to happen after high school. You played 3 sports, you were doing well academically, all these things. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, so I always had a goal that I wanted to get a scholarship, right? And so I wanted to go to a school on a scholarship and be able to play football. I wasn't thinking about a particular school. I just knew that I felt like a realistic goal that I wanted to accomplish was get a scholarship and go play football. And so the recruiting process is really just different schools reaching out, a lot of letters, and phone calls, but mostly letters. Coaches would come to the school. You go to camps in the off season. So, I remember going to a few camps, and I do remember my junior year or going into my senior year. I remember going to the Husker football camp. Frank Solich is the coach at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember he was like, all right, Chris, get them Lynx winning this year. All right. It's like, all right, coach.
He knew your name. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No,
Of course. All right.
do I need to give you some more history?
Right. No.
No, I'm just playing.
So yeah,
he told me get the Lynx going there, but it was like, oh man, you're on the Husker field, and you're, we're at these camps and playing with all these other people from all across the country who are getting all these offers. A lot of them had, already been offered Nebraska.
Yep.
Or offered, to play by Nebraska. And yeah, I remember him telling me, get those Lynx winning this year. And I was like, all right, coach, I got you, because you're young and you feel invincible. And then we went to the senior year. We started out 0-7.
Oh man,
we won our last 2 games.
Oh my goodness.
2 other city schools. I remember that. I was like, man, that didn't really work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so, I give you that. I mean, obviously we didn't have a great season my senior year. And so a lot of the Division I schools weren't, I had offers to walk on at, multiple Division I schools, but I already told you that my goal was to get
a scholarship.
And so I didn't want to do that. And I could have walked on at Nebraska is the truth as well. But again, I wanted a scholarship. And at the time I knew a lot of those players at Nebraska. And so we were playing against each other and working out together and that sort of thing. And so it was a lot of fun, a lot of fond memories. But then, I ended up at Augustana College in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Okay.
And Division II school. At the time, that conference it had North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Northern Colorado, Omaha, which of course doesn't have a football team anymore.
Right.
And then us, I think Mankato.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it was
that's a lot of great football
powerhouse conference for Division II. Of course,
absolutely.
All those schools, most of those schools, right, are no longer Division II schools anymore. And if you know anything about sports, you know that. But that was our conference at the time. So that was a huge selling point.
Absolutely.
When they were talking about the conference and they were very proud of the conference. They talked about, this is Division II conference, but this is, really like a small Division I conference or whatever. And they were getting players drafted, every year. And it was a big big deal at the time if you knew about sports. And so I never wanted to go there, didn't really know about the school, but when they reached out to me, I looked into it. And when they first talked to me, I thought, there ain't no way I'm going to South Dakota.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering. Yeah,
got more snow,
right?
You got to be
going further north.
Right,
what?
Further north, right? I just my family in the South, they already think I'm as far north as I can get.
You trying to go to Canada?
right. And and Augustana was actually smaller than Lincoln High at the time.
Oh my goodness!
So I was like, man, I'm not going to go to a smaller, college than my high school. That's what I thought. But of course, I ended up there. I really liked the coach at the time, and and they stayed with it. And they did a good job recruiting me. Went up there, had a great time. Played football. All 4 years up there. I ended up redshirting. So it was really about 4.5 years. And yeah, man, again, I had a great time up there. I think that what people don't understand, there's a lot of conversations about, should athletes get paid or whatever? Obviously we got NIL now, but even before that, or even now currently, and I can always tell when people talk about that issue, whether or not they played college sports.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you've played college sports, and we can debate whether, you think athletes should get paid or not. But what I'm trying to say is I can always tell by the way you talk about it, because it is a job.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's a job in a way that people, if you haven't played, you don't understand. You just talk about it differently. Right. They own you. Right. And it was very different. It was a very different college experience. You know, it was a Lutheran school, and there was chapel from 10 to 11, but we had, practice or, every day from 10 to 11. We were getting up in the morning. We had weights in the afternoon, practice in the afternoon. They were monitoring our body fat. They were telling us, when it was year round, they were telling us what to eat, what to drink. It's just a very different experience, and it takes really all of your time.
Yes.
I don't say that to be like, oh man, wow, feel sorry for me or the athletes. I'm just saying I can tell when you talk about the issue, whether you have actually played, because it is a serious commitment. And that was one of the things that was night and day when you get to college.
For sure.
Yep.
Comparative, right,
Yeah.
to your other experiences.
That's
And
right.
so you go up there to South Dakota, and did you continue to play quarterback in college?
No, I played cornerback.
Okay.
Played DB in college. Did
Okay.
not play any offense.
No offense in college.
No
Okay.
offense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
a lot of my coaches that coached me, they're probably, some of them are still mad about that.
Right. They're like, wait a minute. Yeah. So, but as you talk about it, how did you make that transition from, again, now you were a 3-sport athlete, so, athletics was really a year-round thing for you, but just like you were talking about, that increased level of commitment, when people go off to college, I think traditionally people think of, I'm going to go off to college and be more independent. If you're going off to college to be an athlete, you have no independence, right? None whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it's essentially like you're going through 4 years of boot camp.
That's right.
And they're trying to consistently make sure that you understand deeply that you do not control your own schedule.
That's right.
Right? You have to be here at this time. You have to do this at this time. And this is what it means to be a part of this team.
Yep.
And if the more extent you do that to, the more we're close, the more we win. And yeah, I know you have class and everything, but you've got all this other stuff to do. So how did you make that transition from Lincoln High to Augustana, playing Division II football and really having to kind of take that extra step of commitment, discipline, and focus?
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess I would still go back to the community because, if you ask about college, I don't even remember a lot of our record. Or I can't tell you too much about, like I can, right? But it's
Right.
more like, I was kind of like this, kind of like that, all the teams that we played or whatever. But I remember the camaraderie, right? I
Yes.
remember the community. I remember the support. I remember the fun that we had traveling and playing. But like the wins, losses, that all gets lost as you get older. It's not even about that.
Wow.
It was more about just the experience, the shared goal that we were all working towards. And I think that's how you get through it. Because when you get to college, everybody was a star at their own school, right?
Yes.
And you have people that aren't going to play, and that's hard.
Absolutely.
For people. And so we would support each other. And you have people get injured, and it's football. Football's a violent sport, right? So it's next man up. And every year you go in there and people are getting injured,
Right.
not playing.
Yeah.
And that was hard, man.
Yeah.
That was hard for a lot of folks. And it was, a lot of times you saw a lot of dreams deferred, because people come there. We're all going to the NFL.
That's
or-
right.
Or
That's
so
right.
we thought.
Right. Right.
And then, when that doesn't happen, people struggle.
Yeah.
And you need that support. And so I really think that's how you get through it. And I still always had, education was always important. My parents, my dad in particular, but both my parents always had, that was ingrained in me that this was important, and that was going to help, help move me forward.
Yes.
Help move us all forward.
Absolutely.
Like we were talking about earlier.
That's right.
So you stay focused on that as well.
So when you go up there, you're a kid from Nebraska. I would imagine that Augustana is probably not the most diverse school. Right. All these things. So how did you make a name for yourself on campus? Like, was it through participating in sport? Was it through participating in other things? Did you continue to do other things too and get involved on campus outside of football? I know you had a lot going on there.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard because, like you mentioned, they own you, and it's a whole different experience. And you can't even get another job unless they let, you can't work unless they let you or approve it. So it was a very interesting experience. But yeah, I mean, I did get involved in other things. It was very, very hard to do other things though, because it is football the entire time. And I don't think people understand this, again, unless they've played. But the worst part is always the off season. So you make it through the season, and then you going through this training that is just so intense, and it's so much more than what you've ever done in high school. Now that's probably changed a little bit now, right? I think these kids are starting earlier and doing those sorts of things sooner than we were during my era.
Right.
But it was very hard to branch out and do other things. But we had a very good school. Education was very important in Augustana. And so I would try to get involved in other things. I remember, doing a theater class and getting involved in theater, still kind of hanging on to that a little bit. They called it an interim, right?
Yes, interim, interterm. Yeah.
So I remember I took a theater class, and what was funny about that is what I remember, the football team would make fun of me a little bit, right? Whatever. I didn't necessarily care because we were all making fun of each other all the time. Whatever.
For sure.
It just mattered whether you could play or not. And then, which I could, of course. So,
right.
And then I go to the theater class, and they are like almost making fun of me as well, or like, what is he doing here?
Right.
Like he's just here to make fun of us. I was like, no, actually, the thing that you think I'm doing to you, you're actually doing to me.
Right.
Like, I want to be here. Like, let's do our breathing exercises. Come on.
Yes.
Like, come on, let's go. What's the skit? What's the play?
Yes.
And so I would try to, do those sorts of things. And then the community in Sioux Falls, I did meet a bunch of great people in the community as well, but that was more like my last couple years up there.
Okay.
When I branched out a little bit, and I still have some very good friends to this day. One of my really good friends. I went to his wedding in Tampa. He's originally from Tampa, and he came out here to my wedding, and he was really like a fish out of water.
Yeah,
coming all the way
from Tampa. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. To Sioux Falls. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you did have some unique opportunities in college. It was a smaller campus, so got a chance to branch out a little bit, but still that real, head down, kind of keep your eyes on what is in front of you approach that every student athlete that's in college has to take. Not a lot of other things going on. And so as you're going through your college career and you're experiencing all these things, talk to us a little bit about how you started to think about what was going to happen after college. Like,
man,
what were you thinking was going to happen after college?
Yeah. So the truth is,
besides going to the NFL,
the truth is I was really just focused on going to the NFL or playing football
professionally.
Overseas,
yes.
For something. And that was really, when I was like looking back when I was in that time, that's really all I was thinking of. I mean, football was really at the time felt like everything.
I see.
Now, once I'm my senior year, and it's like, man, this is not, I wasn't All-American all 4 years. Like I just knew I was going to do, I didn't break records. Like I just knew I was going to do. And so I was like, man, it didn't really hit the way I thought it was going to. Not that it was bad, but you just in your mind think you're going to be all world. But I really, the truth is, did not really spend a lot of time thinking about what's next until after my last football game.
Okay.
My dad always jokes, he always joked that he could tell after the last game I was done playing football. And the truth is I knew that I kind of hung on to it for a little while and did some workouts and talked to some people. But that was the moment, like when it was done, I was like, wow. And because I had redshirt, it was 4.5 years. So we're done in December-ish, right? We're done now-ish, right? We don't go to the playoffs. And then so I don't have classes to take, but I don't walk until May because I have a internship that I need to do, like 40 hours. I don't remember how many hours, but with a business.
I see.
Because I was a business major. But I'm still, I have time in school. And I remember, and my roommate who also played football, I remember we were there when we were done playing football. We were like, man, is this what it's like for everybody else? Man, we have so much time.
Right. Yes.
Oh, wow. We're like, man, we don't got to go practice. We don't got to do this. I was like, oh, man, is this what everybody else's college experience is like?
Right.
Man, we felt like it was like eye opening. And then that's when I really started thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm probably done with football. And, because again, touched on this a little bit, but you play you play college sports it tests your love for the sport, and my love got tested
for sure,
and I don't, I don't regret it at all, but it was very challenging. It was hard.
Yeah.
And there were days that I woke up, do I really love football?
Yeah. Right.
It'll do that to you. So yeah. So then when I was done, then I kind of had to figure it out.
So when you were thinking about what was going to be next and business major and everything else, talk to us a little bit about after college. What did you do pretty immediately after
Yes.
college?
Okay. So after college, I already mentioned I had to do this externship.
Yeah.
And so I end up coming back to Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was like, what, I'm talking to my dad and mainly my dad and some other folks, but I had a couple options. It was like, well, it's like an insurance agent or this lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I had interacted with this lawyer before growing up. He'd been around, he was a family friend, and and I knucklehead at times, so maybe had to ask him a few questions.
Right.
In my younger age.
Right. But we'll talk more about that.
Okay, that's a good break.
You're back here in the community, and we'll talk more after this. You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Johansi Christie in here, and man, it's just been a joy so far. More to come after this.
The savings continue all November long at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. They're extending their red tag sale with machines priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Plus 10% off snowplow kits, 10% off fly motocross gear, and 50% off all in-stock road tires. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for the holiday season.
This Black Friday, it is time to hit your goals before the new year even starts. At Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, get 40% off our next 10-week challenge, plus 6 weeks for free to kickstart your fitness journey. Start training December 1st with kickboxing, strength training, and personalized nutrition. So when our official challenge begins January 10th, you're already ahead of the game. Spots are limited. Don't wait for January to make your resolution. Start strong now. Visit fxbeatlincoln.com or stop by one of our 2 locations at South 40th and Yankee Hill or North 70th and Vine. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Stronger starts here.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Hi, Charlie Stone here, and it's that time of the year again. Time for the annual Happy Honda Days at Honda of Lincoln. With me on the line, Andy Goodyear, to tell us all about it.
The exciting news is we have more selection and more savings. We have over 400 new 2025 and 2026 Hondas to choose from, with a great opportunity to get year-end savings on every remaining new 2025.
Do you have some Happy Honda Day specials?
Sure do, Charlie. For example, you can lease a new 2025 Accord Sport Hybrid for just $349 a month, and we have financing from just 0% APR. We've also included over 125 pre-owned of all makes and models, and as always, our certified pre-owns are in this sale as well.
Well, maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
This holiday season, give the gift of good taste with a gift card from Valentino's. During double discount days, double your discount from $5 to $10 free with a $50 gift card purchase. Valentino's handcrafted pizza has been a family favorite for generations, and our gift cards make the perfect holiday gift. And right now, during gift card double discount days, when you buy $50 in gift cards, get a $10 gift card free. Happy holidays from Valentino's.
Leaves are falling and temperatures are cooling down, but don't put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Winter leagues begin on December 1st and are open for registration. Check out their deals on monthly memberships and schedule your Husker Watch parties, birthday or bachelor parties, corporate or team outings, or just a good old Saturday with the boys. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Book a tee time today or learn more at doubleeagle.golf.
Acreage owner getting ready for winter? Make it easy with John Deere compact tractors and gators from Acres Equipment. Add snow blowers, front blades, cabs, heaters, and loaders to tackle every chore. Right now, in-stock units are priced to move with competitive financing to fit your budget. Get winter ready today at acres.com. Acres Equipment, your acreage handled. Financing subject to approved credit with John Deere Financial. Not all customers qualify. See dealer for details.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock, perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
If you are a business owner, I want you to think about the amount of time you've spent worrying about safety and security. Lincoln's own experts at Diode Technologies design custom solutions for security, communication, and so much more. From automated security to secure video conferencing, their team sits down with you to get to know you and what your business needs. Manage your operations and get notified when there is suspicious activity. Save time and cut back on stress. Diode Tech always keeps you in the know. Contact them today at 402-793-5124.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're back on the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Johansi Christie, Esquire, in the studio with me today. He's just been telling us a little bit about his life, and what's honestly been so compelling to me so far is just kind of, I did not know all of these things about him. As I mentioned earlier, I have known his father for a while and see him as a mentor and just an absolute leader in the Lincoln community. And I wouldn't have expected anything less, but I don't know if I knew how much athletics played a role in your life. And I didn't know about, just your distinguished career in high school and then also going on to college to play ball and everything else. I just did not know that. And I've just seen you as an attorney and as a person who, has really more recently just risen to, some of the very high levels of being in that industry, and just did not connect all the dots. And so it's been amazing to hear all the stories from you today. And so, you were kind of talking to us about coming back to Lincoln, really being in a position of just wondering, like, gosh, what am I going to do next? Having an externship opportunity and meeting this family friend that also happened to be an attorney.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about kind of how that then becomes a possibility for you and what that leads to.
Okay. So I do this. I do the externship with this lawyer, and let's see, like the first day I come in there and he asked me why I'm there, and I say, well, you have your own business. I'm a business major. I want to have my own business one day, so I figure that'd be interesting. And then you are a criminal defense lawyer. You interact with the criminal justice system, and I want to learn about that. It really seems unfair. People that look like me appear to be overrepresented in the criminal justice system, young black males specifically. And so I'm interested to see how this works. And, at that time, I had a couple friends get probably 20 years.
Oh, wow.
I had some other friends, folks that I grew up with get 5-10 years. And then I also had a friend get life. Not 30-40 years, but he got life.
Wow.
And so I wanted to learn about the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
And he tells me, well, you're gonna take the LSAT, you're going to law school. I said, I'm not here for that. So we start fighting. We've been fighting ever since, really. And that's probably early that's like February-ish.
Right.
And then obviously, of course, I end up taking the LSAT. I meet other lawyers in the community through working with him, and a couple of them I may have known a little bit, but interacted with some more of those folks. Did work for another lawyer as well, another criminal defense lawyer. So I kind of bounced back and forth with both of them. Was learning about like what they did and how the system worked, and I would go to court and do other things and do some research that I could. Ended up taking the LSAT, still thinking I'll just see how I do. And then, fast forward that August, I'm in law school at the University of Nebraska, which really, that was the only law school I even applied.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And this is around what, 2005, 2006?
2006. This is 2006.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you go from being a college athlete, your NFL dreams dashed.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
To going into the courtroom.
Yeah.
Once again, competing, right?
Yes, still competing.
Competing. And, just the preparation that it takes to be ready for a trial, all the rest of that. You were used to that because you had to prepare for your games. You had to be disciplined. You had to, have this level of focus and concentration, and you had to be prepared. And here you are in law school.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's right. And I like the way you said that, because a lot of times I'll talk to young kids, sometimes high school, but college, what have you. And a lot of times, they do play sports, or they are, athletes. And I'll explain to them, look, law school in a lot of ways was easy. Like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, look, if you play sports, I was used to dedicating certain amount of hours, 3-5 hours to football, to sports. So when I get to law school, that same 3-4-5 hours I was putting in sports, I just put that into law school. It was an easy transition. I was used to the schedule. I was used to the common goal. I was used to we're working towards something at the end of the year. I was used to every single day we're going to put in time to whatever it is. Of course, it was sports,
right?
But now I didn't have that, and so I just had that same schedule.
Yeah,
and I applied it to law school.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, tell us about that first year of law school. I always hear horror stories about that first year of law school, and just how challenging it is. And here you are coming into that space, and again, and we have to consistently kind of bring this up in this story. I'm sure you were one of few Black men in that law school class, right?
Absolutely.
I'm making some assumptions here, but maybe very few.
Yeah.
So to tell us, what was that first year of law school like for you? And you clearly learned more about the industry within your externship and getting the chance to do some things here in town. And it sounds like you had a deeper purpose and reason to go there too, because like you said, you saw some people from your community, from the Lincoln community, other people you grew up with, getting caught into the system, right? And not being able to get out of it. So what was that first year like for you? Did it match kind of what your expectations were? You kind of talked about the shift of that focus that you had, but what was it like to transition into law school? Yeah,
so law school, of course, is very challenging, but I go to the law school, every year now and talk. And I actually I'm an adjunct out there now too.
Oh, wow.
And so I have the opportunity to talk to law students all the time. And I tell them the truth. Look, I love law school.
Okay.
And that is the truth. I'm not going to give you horror stories, right?
Okay.
And so here's a different perspective that you might not always hear.
Yeah.
But I remember the very first class, and it's scary. It's intimidating. And they were doing the Socratic method, and they teach different, and they challenge you. And I remember having a clear moment in time, feeling like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Oh, wow.
Right. So
That's
that
awesome.
was my experience. And of course it was challenging. Of course it was, and maybe it was the competition athletics that I was used to. I was comfortable in that space.
Yes.
Right. So I got that. Okay, we're competing. This is hard. This is challenging. But I used to tell some of my law school classmates, we're not the first to do this. How hard can it be? Other people did it. But it did help that I had worked with those other attorneys before.
Yes.
And I had met lots of attorneys that I thought, well, you're an attorney. Well, I can do it if you are.
Right.
How hard can it be? Look at you. What do you mean? But also just learning the terminology, because I do think the first year of law school, they like to joke, scare you to death, work you to death, bore you to death. Those are the years or something.
Yes.
But the first year, really, you got to learn the lingo. It's like learning a different language.
I see.
Okay. And so I was familiar with some of the terminology, so that helped me my first year. But also I learned something every single day in law school, which was to me, it was very stimulating and it was very interesting. I knew it didn't matter what class I was in, I learned something every single day.
Wow.
And so that was like motivation for me in
Yes.
itself. And that's the other reason why I liked law school. You learn so much about how things actually work, how you structure systems, governments, how the criminal justice system works, which again was always like you said, my purpose.
Absolutely.
For even being in there in the first place.
Yeah. So that's amazing. I mean, I am so happy to hear that you enjoyed law school so much.
I
And
tell people that.
That's, I mean, that, again, not something that I hear from a lot of people, but it seems like all the things that had prepared you for that time that you were going to go there and be competitive, you were going to learn, you were going to challenge yourself, you were going to challenge others, you were just going to continue on that arc of success, and do it all with the great support back in the community, that you knew people, that you had support and everything else. And so you made it through law school.
Made it through, right.
And when did you decide that you were going to really focus on, it sounds like criminal law?
Yeah.
When did you make that decision? And it sounds like you did kind of make that decision early on and you knew what you were going to do, but when did you really know that that was going to be your passion?
Yeah. So I knew, again, before I went to law school and then in law school, I was always my interest. I was very interested in how the criminal justice system worked, for the reasons I already shared. And then I started, I did work with some of the private attorneys that I mentioned before. But then I also ended up working at the public defender's office as a law clerk.
Okay.
And then when I graduated law school, I was offered a job to come work at the public defender's office. But my time working both with the private attorneys that did criminal defense and then working at the public defender's office, a lot of my experience through law school professionally when I was working was, criminal defense. And so it was just a natural transition. I knew that I felt like I had to learn that.
I see.
It had, again, touched so many people close to me in different ways. I had been, close to the criminal justice system. I had interacted with the criminal justice system, and I knew that I needed to learn that and how did this work. I felt like at that time, if I didn't know the criminal justice system, I felt like I wasn't a real lawyer. So I knew I had to go do that. And so, I got the job at the public defender's office, went into, ended up, working there, took the bar out of state. That's a whole nother, went to Texas, took the bar in Texas, but I was in Houston for like a month. But
why? Why?
I mean, at the time, you have to decide what bar you're going to take well in advance. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of background checks, that sort of thing. And so I didn't have a job in Nebraska at the time.
I see.
And so they had reciprocity.
Okay, for Nebraska.
Did.
Okay.
And I had some classmates that were from that area, and I knew that was a state that I could go to. And we still talk about whether it's brain drain or whatever. I felt like maybe I need to leave Nebraska. I didn't know. I was curious.
Right.
But I knew that I could motion in if I passed the bar there. I could motion into Nebraska. And so when I did get offered the job with the public defender, I remember he was like, "Hey, yeah, because I had clerked there. He's like, well, hey, let's meet, let's talk." I was like, "Oh, okay." I thought like this is the call.
Right.
And then he was like, "Okay." He said like next week or whatever. I was like, no, tomorrow. He's like, "Oh." So we met for coffee. He offered me a job, and I was like, "Okay, well, good." I had to, I just needed to know. And he's like, "Well, what are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I'm taking the bar in Texas." He was like, "Obviously, it's contingent on you passing the bar." I said, "I understand." He said, "When are you taking the bar, or where are you taking the bar?" I said, "Texas." He goes, "What? When are you leaving?" I said, "I'm leaving tomorrow. That's why I had to meet with you today before I go down there, just to know like where are we at, what's the status of things."
Yes.
And so,
wow.
So then I go down there, take the bar, pass that, and then I come back here.
That's amazing. So talk to us a little bit about, because my listeners are from kind of far and wide.
Sure.
This is a sports station, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly is the role of a public defender?
Right, sure. So public defenders represent people who are charged with crimes who cannot afford a lawyer, which, by the way, is the vast majority of people who are charged with crimes. And so I started work I started representing juveniles in juvenile court, actually.
Mhm.
Then I started representing adults in misdemeanor court, and then felonies. And so I represented, kids charged with truancy.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
All the way up to adults charged with murder.
Oh, wow.
Everything in between.
Everything in
right?
between,
So,
yeah.
so I had an opportunity to see a lot of how the criminal justice system truly works, and how we handle things in the community. And so, it was a unique experience. I loved my time as a public defender. I was a public defender for over a decade.
Oh, wow.
And so that was most of my, that's what I did right out of law school. And that's what I've still that's what I did for most of my career.
And so what would you say are some of the lessons you learned and some of the things that you saw within society as a result of being a public defender that perhaps shifted kind of just your whole perspective on the possibilities that certain people have as they're coming up in certain areas and different things like that? Like how did that experience really shape your perspective?
Yeah, man. Well, I think it's man, I could probably talk about this forever, but I think one of the things that's important for listeners to understand is it's nearly impossible to truly understand anything unless you're close to it, right? And so we think that we know how things work or how people are or whatever, but unless you've truly been close to it, I don't think you know what you're talking about, right? And so there are so many aspects of the criminal justice system that are hard for people to even truly fathom or understand. Like, first of all, we talk about the criminal justice system, but if we're talking about state, not federal system, but our state system, Omaha, Douglas County is different than Lancaster County. It's different than Hall County, Grand Island, whatever. So each county is a different, system. It operates different. So we're talking about the criminal justice system. There's really over 5,000 criminal justice systems across the country, right?
Wow.
And so it's very challenging. And so we like to say all politics is local, but I like to say, criminal justice is local as well.
Wow, that makes sense. And people don't really understand some of those concepts. We'll finish things up. We're getting into some really unique and interesting territory here, and I just absolutely love the depth and the breadth of this show. We'll go ahead and finish up after we get back from this. You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters and Johansi Christie right here on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be back.
The savings continue all November long at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. They're extending their red tag sale with machines priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Plus 10% off snowplow kits, 10% off fly motocross gear, and 50% off all in-stock road tires. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for the holiday season.
This Black Friday, it is time to hit your goals before the new year even starts. At Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, get 40% off our next 10-week challenge, plus 6 weeks for free to kickstart your fitness journey. Start training December 1st with kickboxing, strength training, and personalized nutrition. So when our official challenge begins January 10th, you're already ahead of the game. Spots are limited. Don't wait for January to make your resolution. Start strong now. Visit fxbeatlincoln.com or stop by one of our 2 locations at South 40th and Yankee Hill or North 70th and Vine. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Stronger starts here.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Hi, Charlie Stone here, and it's that time of the year again. Time for the annual Happy Honda Days at Honda of Lincoln. With me on the line, Andy Goodyear, to tell us all about it.
The exciting news is we have more selection and more savings. We have over 400 new 2025 and 2026 Hondas to choose from, with a great opportunity to get year-end savings on every remaining new 2025.
Do you have some Happy Honda Days specials?
Sure do, Charlie. For example, you can lease a new 2025 Accord Sport Hybrid for just $349 a month, and we have financing from just 0% APR. We've also included over 125 pre-owned of all makes and models, and as always, our certified pre-owns are in this sale as well.
Well, maybe it's time you experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
This holiday season, give the gift of good taste with a gift card from Valentino's. During double discount days, double your discount from $5 to $10 free with a $50 gift card purchase. Valentino's handcrafted pizza has been a family favorite for generations, and our gift cards make the perfect holiday gift. And right now, during gift card double discount days, when you buy $50 in gift cards, get a $10 gift card free. Happy holidays from Valentino's.
Leaves are falling and temperatures are cooling down, but don't put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Winter leagues begin on December 1st and are open for registration. Check out their deals on monthly memberships and schedule your Husker Watch parties, birthday or bachelor parties, corporate or team outings, or just a good old Saturday with the boys. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Book a tee time today or learn more at doubleeagle.golf.
Acreage owner getting ready for winter? Make it easy with John Deere compact tractors and gators from Acres Equipment. Add snow blowers, front blades, cabs, heaters, and loaders to tackle every chore. Right now, in-stock units are priced to move with competitive financing to fit your budget. Get winter ready today at acres.com. Acres Equipment, your acreage handled. Financing subject to approved credit with John Deere Financial. Not all customers qualify. See dealer for details.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock, perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
If you are a business owner, I want you to think about the amount of time you've spent worrying about safety and security. Lincoln's own experts at Diode Technologies design custom solutions for security, communication, and so much more. From automated security to secure video conferencing, their team sits down with you to get to know you and what your business needs. Manage your operations and get notified when there is suspicious activity. Save time and cut back on stress. Diode Tech always keeps you in the know. Contact them today at 402-793-5124.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nebraska, you're back with the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. I have Auntie Christy in the studio with me today, and it's just been so amazing to hear his story today about his journey from Lincoln, Nebraska, up to Sioux Falls, back to Lincoln, Nebraska. He's been around the world now, I'm sure. I mean, he's just, well-traveled guy, but, a Lincoln man at heart. And so, he was kind of talking a little bit about the criminal justice system and talking about the uniqueness of all the different jurisdictions and how those impact how your case is tried and all these things. I mean, it's very interesting stuff. And just not knowing that for a lot of people on the outside looking in, it's just so interesting to hear you talk about that. But now your job is uniquely Lincoln, Lancaster County, right? Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about your current job, what you do, and how you got there.
Sure. Well, yeah, I have the privilege of serving as the city attorney for the city of Lincoln, the town that I grew up in. And it's very special to me. It means a lot.
Yeah.
And so the city attorney, I was appointed by the mayor, Lyrian Gaylord Baird, in July 2020. So, during the pandemic.
Wow.
George Floyd.
Yes.
Nothing was happening back then, right? Yeah, but so I come in, again, appointed July 2020, appointed by the mayor, approved by the city council. And so I've been in that role, 5.5 years now.
Wow.
And as city attorney, we have 17 lawyers.
Oh, wow.
And then me, I'm 18. We have another lawyer who's not, so really it's 18 lawyers probably technically, but we have, and then we have, support staff, professional staff. So our office is about 35 folks. And so, I'm a director, city director, appointed by the mayor. So, government official. And city director, I mean, I'm running a city department, which is just like, police chief is the director, fire chief is the director. Wow. We're all appointed by the mayor, approved by the council. The director of the planning department, health director, same, right? We're all directors of our respective departments. And then what we do, we have 6 attorney prosecutors. Then we have 11 attorneys that are civil attorneys. And then we have the Commission on Human Rights, which is also a division in our office. So the bulk of what we do is civil work, legal services for the city.
I see.
So at a very, it's hard to explain. I could talk about this for a while, but at a very basic level, we're like general counsel.
I see.
For the city of Lincoln.
All the contracts.
Literally everything that you could think of in the city. You mentioned contracts, roads, streets, right? Water, all the laws that are passed. So we have attorneys assigned to every department. So police department, fire department, urban development, planning department. I did not name all the departments, but so whether it's zoning questions, how to build a city, all those sorts of things, taxes, elections, like I could go on and on.
Oh, wow.
We also advise the mayor's office. So any sort of priorities or initiatives that the mayor's office is trying to bring out, we're helping with that, and providing legal advice on any number of issues. Also advise the city council. So everything that the city council's doing with all of their local laws, local legislation, things in the Lincoln Municipal Code, which is our local code that's passed by the city council. And then our 6 prosecutors, they prosecute, violations of the Lincoln Municipal Code, things that happen within the city, not felonies, not murders or anything like that. That's handled by the county. Then the Commission on Human Rights, they are outward-facing agency, and what I mean by that is they investigate complaints in the community from outward. That's what I mean outward-facing, from folks in the community. In the issues of public accommodation, housing, and employment. So like if the dispute with a landlord, if you believe you were evicted for an illegal reason, something like that, they investigate that complaint, and then they can take it to a commission, board of residents of the community that appointed by the mayor, approved by the council, and there's a whole process for that. So at a very, 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 very smaller level, sometimes I like most people understand the president appoints the attorney general. That's approved by the Senate. Again, at a very, very smaller level, it's very similar. It's the same sort of thing. The mayor appointed me, and I'm approved by the council to be the lawyer for the city that I grew up in.
That's so amazing. It's been awesome to hear from you today, Yohansi. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on my show. It's just so awesome to think about you being a young kid running around Ruth Hill halls, and now you're running around the halls of the city of Lincoln as the city attorney. What an amazing just evolution of your journey and all the things you've done. Thank you for taking time to be on the Law of Lift. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard his story today. I hope it's inspired you to do more and lift off. Have a great day.